Kim Jae-won walked down the long hallway of the Star Harmony, holding his boarding pass tight in his hand. The huge passenger ship was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Shiny metal walls stretched high above his head, and soft lights made everything glow like a dream. He could not believe he was really here. For 3 years, Kim had saved every credit from his job fixing starship engines at Earth Colony Station. He worked extra hours and ate cheap food to buy this first-class ticket to Paraxis. The Dragon homeworld was having a big engineering conference, and Kim wanted to learn new things about quantum engines. This trip was his biggest dream come true. Kim found his seat in the first-class section. The chair was huge and soft, covered in real leather. There was a small table that folded out, and the window showed the black space filled with bright stars. He sat down and smiled. For the next 4 days, he would travel in comfort, like the rich people do. Other passengers walked by his seat. Most were aliens from different planets. Some had blue skin and long arms. Others looked like giant insects with shiny shells. A few were humans like Kim, but they wore expensive clothes and talked loudly about their important business deals. Kim wore his best shirt and pants, but he still looked plain next to them. The ship's engines started with a low hum. Kim felt excited as they began moving away from the station. He was really doing it. He was going to Pyraxis to learn from the best engineers in the galaxy. Then Kim heard loud voices from the back of the ship. He turned around and saw a crowd of passengers standing in the economy section. They were all looking at something and talking in worried voices. Kim got up and walked toward the noise. When he got closer, he saw what everyone was staring at. A huge dragon was trying to squeeze into a small economy seat. The dragon was much bigger than the seat. His massive body did not fit, and his long tail hung into the walking area. The dragon had dark green scales that looked like metal armor. But Kim noticed something sad about him. The dragon's left wing was missing, and only a small piece remained attached to his back. He walked with a heavy limp, using his right arm to hold onto the seats for balance. Other passengers whispered to each other. Kim heard some of their words. "That is Vorthak, the Iron Scale," said a blue-skinned alien. "He fought in the Void Wars 20 years ago." "He saved my planet from the Shadow Fleet," whispered another passenger. "But look at him now, so broken and sad." "Why is a war hero sitting in economy class?" asked a human woman in expensive clothes. A flight attendant, who looked like a tall bird with colorful feathers, tried to help Vorthak. "Sir, I am sorry, but this is the only seat we have available for you. The first-class section is full." Vorthak's deep voice sounded tired and bitter. "I understand. Dragons do not deserve comfort anymore. The galaxy has forgotten what we did for them." Kim watched the dragon struggle to fit in the tiny seat. Vorthak's injured body clearly caused him pain, but he did not complain. He just tried to make himself smaller. Kim felt something strong in his chest. This was not right. This dragon had fought to save different worlds and species. The wars protected Earth Colony Station, too. Kim's own family was safe because brave soldiers like Vorthak had fought against the evil Shadow Fleet. Without thinking too much about it, Kim walked over to the dragon. His heart was beating fast, but he knew what he had to do. "Excuse me," Kim said to Vorthak. "My name is Kim Jae-won. I have a first-class seat, but I think you need it more than I do." Vorthak looked down at Kim with huge yellow eyes. The dragon was surprised and confused. "What did you say, human?" "I want to trade seats with you," Kim said. "You should sit in first class. I will take your economy seat." The other passengers became quiet. Everyone stared at Kim like he was crazy. The expensive human woman laughed. "Are you serious?" she said. "You paid good money for that seat. Why would you give it to him?" Kim looked at her, then back at Vorthak. "Because he earned it. He fought for all of us." Vorthak studied Kim's face for a long moment. Dragons were good at reading people, and he could see that Kim was telling the truth. The human was not trying to trick him or make himself look good. Kim really wanted to help. "Human," Vorthak said slowly, "do you know what you are doing? In dragon culture, such an act creates a debt of honor. I would owe you something I could never repay." Kim smiled. "I do not want you to owe me anything. I just want you to be comfortable. You deserve it." The dragon was quiet for several seconds. Then something changed in his yellow eyes. The bitterness faded a little, and Kim saw surprise and maybe even respect. "What is your name again?" "Human. Kim J. Won. I am a mechanic from Earth Colony Station." "Kim J. Won," Vorthak repeated the name carefully. "I am Vorthak, son of Flameheart, veteran of the Void Wars. You have surprised me today." Kim helped gather his few things from the first-class seat. As they switched places, other passengers watched in silence. Some looked confused. Others seemed angry that a human was being so foolish. When Vorthak settled into the big first-class seat, his whole body relaxed for the first time. The seat was large enough for his massive frame, and he could stretch his legs properly. "Thank you," Vorthak said quietly. Kim squeezed into the economy seat, which was much smaller than he expected. But seeing the relief on the old dragon's face made Kim feel good inside. As the Star Harmony flew deeper into space, Kim wondered what would happen next. He had no idea that this simple act of kindness would change both their lives forever. The next morning, Kim woke up with a sore back. The economy seat was not comfortable for sleeping, but he did not mind. He felt good knowing that Vorthak had spent the night in a proper bed. Kim went to the dining area for breakfast. The ship had 2 eating areas, one for first-class passengers and one for economy. Kim was heading to the economy section when he heard his name. "Kim J. Won." The deep voice belonged to Vorthak. The dragon was sitting alone at a big table in the first-class dining room. "Will you join me for breakfast?" Kim looked around. The other first-class passengers stared at him with unfriendly faces. They clearly thought he did not belong there. "I should eat in economy," Kim said. "This area is not for people like me." "You are my guest," Vorthak said firmly. "Sit down." Kim sat across from the huge dragon. A server brought them both food. Kim got simple bread and fruit, while Vorthak received a large piece of cooked meat that was still smoking. "Tell me, Kim," Vorthak said as he ate, "why do you travel to Pyraxis?" "There is an engineering conference," Kim explained. "I want to learn about new quantum engine designs. I fix starship engines at the colony station." Vorthak's eyes became interested. "You understand engine mechanics?" "Yes, I have worked on engines for 8 years. I started when I was 20 years old. Quantum drives are my specialty." "Interesting." Vorthak leaned forward. "During the Void Wars, we had many problems with our ship engines. The quantum cores would overheat during long battles." "Do you know why this happens?" Kim's face lit up. This was something he knew well. When quantum chambers run too hot, the energy crystals lose their harmony. The wavelengths become unstable. You need to cool the core gradually, not quickly, or the crystals will crack. Vorthak nodded slowly. "You are correct. Our engineers tried to cool the engines fast with ice systems. Many cores exploded because of this mistake." For the next hour, Kim and Vorthak talked about engines, space travel, and technology. Kim asked questions about dragon flight mechanics. He wanted to know how dragons could fly in space without air. "We create our own energy fields," Vorthak explained. "Our fire breath is not really fire. It is concentrated energy that pushes against space itself. But this only works when both wings function properly." Vorthak looked sad when he mentioned his missing wing. Kim noticed the dragon's pain. "How did you lose your wing?" Kim asked gently. "Shadow Fleet battlecruiser. Their weapons use dark energy that eats through dragon scales like acid. I stayed behind to cover the escape ships. My wing was destroyed, but 300 refugees lived because of it. Kim felt great respect for the old dragon. You saved 300 people? Dragons, humans, and others, Vorthak said. All lives have value in war. Other passengers at nearby tables listened to their conversation. Kim heard some of them whispering. Look at that dragon, acting like he still matters, said a rich human businessman. The wars ended 20 years ago. Nobody cares about old soldiers anymore. Why is that mechanic pretending to be important? Said a blue-skinned alien woman. He should know his place. Kim felt angry at their words, but Vorthak just looked tired. The dragon had heard this kind of talk many times before. After breakfast, Kim and Vorthak walked around the ship together. Well, Vorthak walked slowly because of his injured leg, and Kim stayed beside him. Kim noticed that the dragon had trouble with stairs and long distances. Wait here, Kim told Vorthak. I will be right back. Kim went to the ship's maintenance area. He knew ships like this always had spare parts and tools. He found some metal rods and quick-join connectors. Working quickly, Kim built an extension for Vorthak's walking cane. The new cane was longer and had better balance for the dragon's height. When Kim returned, he gave the improved cane to Vorthak. Try this. Vorthak tested the new cane and his eyes showed surprise. This is much better. Where did you learn to build things so quickly? My father taught me, Kim said. He always said that if something is broken, you should try to fix it. Do not just complain about the problem. Your father sounds like a wise man. He was. He died 3 years ago fixing a damaged engine to save his crew. That is why I work so hard to understand engines better. I want to prevent accidents like that. Vorthak studied Kim's face. You carry honor like a dragon, Kim Jae-won. This is unusual for humans. What do you mean? Dragons believe in honor debts. When someone helps you, you must help them in return. Most humans do not understand this idea. They help others expecting nothing, or they help others expecting everything. But you helped me without thinking about what you would get. Kim shrugged. That is just being a decent person. No, Vorthak said seriously. That is being honorable. There is a big difference. That evening, Kim and Vorthak ate dinner together again. The first-class passengers became more unfriendly toward them. Some complained to the ship's officers about inappropriate mixing of social classes, but Kim did not care what they thought. He enjoyed talking with Vorthak. The dragon had many interesting stories about different planets and species. Vorthak also asked Kim many questions about human engineering methods. Humans think differently than other species, Vorthak observed. You see problems as puzzles to solve, not obstacles to avoid. Is that good or bad? Kim asked. Very good. During the wars, human engineers created solutions that saved many lives. Other species gave up too easily, but humans kept trying new ideas. As they talked, Kim began to understand that Vorthak was not just any dragon veteran. The way other dragons on the ship looked at him with deep respect suggested he was someone very important. But Vorthak never bragged about his past or demanded special treatment. Can I ask you something? Kim said. Of course. Why do you travel in economy class? Surely Dragon War heroes receive better benefits. Vorthak's face became dark. The Dragon Council cut veteran benefits 2 years ago. They said the Treasury needed money for new projects. Old soldiers like me are not important anymore. Kim felt sad and angry about this. That is not right. You sacrificed everything for your people. Honor is not always rewarded, Kim. Sometimes good deeds are forgotten when times become peaceful. But as Kim looked at his new friend, he had a feeling that Vorthak's story was not finished yet. Something told him that this dragon was more special than he appeared to be. On the 3rd day of their journey, Kim was reading about quantum engine designs when the ship suddenly shook. It was not a normal shaking from flying through space. This felt wrong, like something inside the ship was breaking. The lights flickered, and a loud alarm began to sound. All around the ship, passengers looked worried and scared. "Attention, passengers!" came the captain's voice over the speakers. "We are experiencing technical difficulties with our main quantum drive. Please remain calm and stay in your seats." But the ship shook again, harder this time. Kim felt his stomach drop as the artificial gravity wavered. He knew this feeling from his work at the colony station. The quantum drive was failing, and that was very dangerous. Kim found Vorthak in the first-class lounge. The dragon looked concerned but not panicked like the other passengers. "This is bad," Kim said quietly. "Quantum drives do not just have small problems. When they fail completely." "How long do we have?" Vorthak asked. "Depends on the type of failure. Could be hours, could be minutes." The captain spoke again, and his voice sounded more worried now. "Ladies and gentlemen, our main quantum core is experiencing cascade failure. We are currently stranded in deep space. Our engineering team is working to fix the problem." Passengers began to panic. Some screamed, others cried. The rich first-class passengers demanded to speak with the captain immediately. They acted like their money could solve a broken engine. Kim stood up. "I need to help them." "What can you do?" Vorthak asked. "I might know how to fix it. Quantum cascade failure has specific causes. I have seen this problem before." Kim made his way to the front of the ship where the crew worked. He found the chief engineer, a tall alien with 4 arms and purple skin. The engineer was shouting orders at his team, who all looked confused and frightened. "Excuse me," Kim said. "I am an engineer. I work on quantum drives at Earth Colony Station. Maybe I can help." The chief engineer looked down at Kim with angry eyes. "Who are you?" "Kim Jae-won. I have 8 years of experience with quantum engine repair." "You are just a passenger, and a human mechanic at that." The chief engineer's voice was full of disrespect. "This is advanced draconian quantum technology. You would not understand it." "Please, just let me look at the diagnostic readings," Kim said. "I might see something you missed." "Absolutely not. I will not have some lower-class human interfering with my work. Go back to your seat and let real engineers handle this." Kim felt angry, but he did not argue. He could see that the chief engineer was too proud to accept help from a human. This kind of thinking was common in the galaxy. Many aliens thought humans were too primitive to understand advanced technology. Kim returned to Vorthak and told him what happened. The dragon's eyes flashed with anger. "That fool," Vorthak growled. "He would rather let everyone die than admit a human might be smarter than him." The ship shook again, and the lights went out for several seconds. When they came back on, they were much dimmer. The air recycling system was making strange noises. "Life support is failing," Kim said. "We have maybe 6 hours before the air becomes poisonous." Kim could not just sit and wait. While the crew continued their useless work, he decided to investigate on his own. He knew that passenger ships like this one had maintenance tunnels that led to the engine rooms. Kim found a service hatch near the economy section. The tunnel was small and dark, but he crawled through it anyway. His knowledge of ship designs helped him find his way to the quantum drive chamber. When Kim reached the engine room, he could see the problem immediately. The quantum core was glowing with an angry red light instead of the normal blue. Energy readings on the displays showed exactly what he expected. Quantum cascade failure happened when the energy crystals inside the core lost their harmonic frequency. This created a feedback loop that made the crystals vibrate faster and faster until they exploded. The explosion would destroy the entire ship and everyone on it. Kim studied the readings carefully. He had seen this exact problem at the colony station 2 years ago. The solution required someone to manually recalibrate the crystal matrix from inside the quantum chamber itself. But there was one big problem. The quantum chamber was filled with radiation that would kill most living beings in minutes. At the colony station, they had used robots to do the repair work. This ship did not have the right kind of robots. Kim crawled back through the maintenance tunnel to find Vorthak. His mind was working fast, trying to think of other solutions. When he emerged from the hatch, several passengers saw him. They were covered in dust and looking worried. "What were you doing in there?" asked the expensive human woman who had laughed at Kim earlier. "Trying to save our lives," Kim replied. The woman looked confused, like she could not believe that a simple mechanic might be useful in a crisis. Kim found Vorthak and explained what he had discovered. "The quantum crystals are out of harmony. Someone needs to go into the radiation chamber and manually adjust the frequency calibrators. But the radiation will kill anyone who goes in there." "How much radiation?" Vorthak asked. "Enough to kill a human in 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes for species with thicker skin." Vorthak was quiet for a moment. Then his eyes showed a strange light. "Kim, what do you know about dragon biology?" "Not much." "Why?" "Dragons breathe energy, not fire. Our bodies are naturally resistant to many types of radiation." "How long would the repair take?" Kim thought about it. If someone knew exactly what to do, maybe 10 minutes. But they would need to follow precise instructions for adjusting the crystal matrix. "Could you guide someone through the process using a communication device?" "Yes, but—" Kim stopped as he understood what Vorthak was suggesting. "No, you cannot go in there. It is too dangerous. More dangerous than letting the entire ship explode." Before Kim could answer, the ship shook violently again. This time, the artificial gravity failed completely for several seconds. Passengers floated in the air, screaming in terror. When gravity returned, Kim and Vorthak looked at each other with serious expressions. "How much time do we have left?" Vorthak asked. Kim checked his portable scanner, which he always carried for his engineering work. 2 hours, maybe 3 before total core collapse. Then we need to move fast. The chief engineer will never let us near the engine room. Vorthak's mouth showed the hint of a dangerous smile. "Leave the chief engineer to me." Kim and Vorthak made their way to the engine room together. The ship was shaking constantly now, and sparks flew from damaged electrical panels in the walls. Passengers huddled together in groups, praying to whatever gods their species believed in. When they reached the engine room, they found the chief engineer and his team standing around looking helpless. The alien engineer was shouting into his communication device, trying to get advice from other ships. But Kim knew that no one could help them from far away. Vorthak walked up to the chief engineer. Even with his injured leg, the dragon was huge and frightening when he wanted to be. "Engineer," Vorthak said in a voice that commanded respect, "what is your current status?" The chief engineer looked up at Vorthak with surprise. "Who are you to ask me questions?" "I am Vorthak, son of Flameheart, veteran of the Void Wars. And this human beside me is an expert in quantum drive repair. We are here to save this ship." I told the human before, I do not need help from passengers, especially not from some broken-down old dragon and a primitive mechanic. Vorthak's eyes became dangerous. Kim had never seen the dragon look truly angry before, and it was frightening. When Vorthak spoke again, his voice was quiet but full of power. "Engineer, look at your readings. How much time do you have left?" The chief engineer glanced at his displays. "Maybe 90 minutes before complete core failure." "And how close are you to finding a solution?" We are working on several possibilities." "That means you have no idea what to do." Vorthak stepped closer to the engineer. "I am giving you one chance to save face. Step aside and let us work, or I will remove you from this room myself." The chief engineer looked at Vorthak's massive claws and scarred body. Even injured, the dragon was clearly dangerous. The engineer's team began backing away from their leader. "You cannot threaten me," the engineer said, but his voice was shaking. "I am not threatening you. I am telling you what will happen. Vorthak's voice remained calm and cold. Choose now. The chief engineer looked around at his frightened team, then at the failing quantum core. Finally, he stepped aside. Fine. But when this goes wrong, I will not be responsible. If this goes wrong, we will all be dead anyway, Vorthak replied. Kim immediately went to the control panels and began studying the readings. The situation was worse than he had thought. They had maybe 1 hour left, not 90 minutes. Vorthak, the radiation levels are higher than I expected. Are you sure dragons can survive that much exposure? I do not know, Vorthak said honestly. But I know that I cannot fit through the maintenance passage that leads to the quantum chamber. Kim looked at the narrow tunnel that led to the radiation chamber. Vorthak was right. The dragon was too big to crawl through the small space. Then I will have to go in, Kim said. No. Vorthak's voice was firm. The radiation will kill you. Maybe I can work fast enough. Kim. Vorthak put his massive hand on Kim's shoulder. When you gave me your seat, you created an honor debt. In dragon culture, this means I must protect your life above my own. I cannot let you die for me. Kim felt frustrated. But you cannot reach the quantum chamber. Yes, I can. Vorthak pointed to a larger maintenance hatch on the other side of the room. That passage leads to the main engine core. It is bigger, but it goes through areas with even more radiation. Kim looked at the readings for that passage. Vorthak, no. That route has 3 times more radiation exposure. Even dragons cannot survive that much. We will see. Vorthak moved toward the hatch. Explain to me what I need to do. Kim realized he had no choice. The ship was dying, and Vorthak was the only one who could possibly survive the radiation long enough to make the repairs. Okay, listen carefully. Kim pulled up the technical diagrams on his portable computer. The quantum chamber has 4 crystal arrays arranged in a square pattern. Each array has a frequency calibrator that looks like a metal disc with blue lights. I understand. You need to adjust each calibrator to a specific frequency. I will guide you through the communication link, but you must follow my instructions exactly. If you make a mistake, the crystals will explode. Vorthak nodded. Kim helped him put on a communication headset that would let them talk while the dragon was in the radiation chamber. Vorthak, are you sure about this? Once you go in there, you will be exposed to deadly radiation for at least 15 minutes. Kim, do you remember what you told me about your father? That he died fixing an engine to save his crew? Yes. He understood that some things are worth the risk. This is one of those things. Kim felt a deep respect for his friend. You are very brave. No. I am very old, and I am tired of being useless. Today I have a chance to matter again. Vorthak opened the maintenance hatch and looked into the glowing tunnel beyond. The radiation was so intense that the air itself seemed to shimmer with dangerous energy. Kim, if I do not survive this, I want you to know something. You gave me back my honor when you offered me your seat. Dragons do not forget such gifts. Before Kim could respond, Vorthak entered the tunnel and crawled toward the quantum chamber. On the communication link, Kim could hear the dragon's breathing becoming labored as the radiation began affecting his body. Talk to me, Vorthak. How do you feel? Like I am breathing liquid fire, Vorthak replied. But I can continue. Kim watched the dragon's progress on the ship's internal sensors. It took Vorthak several minutes to reach the quantum chamber because of his injured leg and the difficult crawling. I am at the chamber, Vorthak reported. I can see the 4 crystal arrays you described. Good. Now look for the first calibrator on the array to your left. It should have blue lights arranged in a circle. I see it. Turn the center dial clockwise until the lights change from blue to green. Tell me when you see green. Kim listened as Vorthak worked. The dragon's voice was getting weaker, and Kim could hear him coughing. The radiation was slowly killing Vorthak, but the dragon did not complain. One by one, they adjusted each frequency calibrator. Kim guided Vorthak through the complex process, while watching the quantum core readings on his computer. Slowly, the angry red glow began to fade as the crystals returned to their proper harmony. "Last calibrator," Kim said. "Turn it counterclockwise this time until you see purple light." "Purple light confirmed," Vorthak said, but his voice was very weak now. Kim checked the readings. The quantum cascade had stopped. The core was stabilizing. They had done it. "Vorthak, it worked! The core is stable. Come back now!" There was no answer on the communication link. "Vorthak, can you hear me?" Kim heard a faint coughing sound, then Vorthak's voice, barely a whisper. I cannot move my legs. The radiation." Kim's heart sank. Vorthak had saved everyone on the ship, but the radiation had been too much for even a dragon to survive. Kim did not hesitate. Even though the radiation could kill him, he crawled into the tunnel to rescue Vorthak. The chief engineer tried to stop him, but Kim was already inside the maintenance passage. The radiation felt like fire burning through Kim's body, but he kept crawling toward the quantum chamber. When he found Vorthak, the dragon was lying unconscious on the metal floor. His green scales had turned pale, and his breathing was very weak. "Hold on, my friend," Kim whispered. "I am getting you out of here." Kim was much smaller than Vorthak, but fear gave him strength. He grabbed the dragon's arms and pulled him toward the tunnel entrance. It took all of Kim's energy, but he managed to drag Vorthak out of the radiation zone. The ship's medical team was waiting when Kim emerged from the tunnel. Both Kim and Vorthak were taken to the medical bay immediately. The ship's doctor, a kind alien with healing powers, worked to save them both from radiation poisoning. Kim recovered quickly because his exposure was brief, but Vorthak remained unconscious for 2 days. Kim stayed beside the dragon's bed, worried that his friend might not survive. On the 3rd day, Vorthak opened his yellow eyes and saw Kim sitting next to him. "You came after me," Vorthak said quietly. "Of course I did. You saved everyone on this ship. I could not leave you to die alone. Kim, you risked your life for me again. The honor debt between us is now impossible to repay." Kim smiled. "Good. That means we are just friends now without keeping track of who owes what." News of their heroic actions spread throughout the ship. Passengers who had ignored or insulted them before now treated them with great respect. The chief engineer even apologized to Kim for his rudeness. But the biggest surprise came when they arrived at Paraxis, the dragon homeworld. As the ship landed, Kim looked out the window and saw something amazing. Hundreds of dragons filled the landing area. Some wore golden armor, others had crowns or other symbols of importance. In the center of the group stood the largest dragon Kim had ever seen, with scales like polished gold and eyes like burning stars. "Who are all those dragons?" Kim asked Vorthak. Vorthak looked uncomfortable. "Kim, there is something I need to tell you. I have not been completely honest about who I am." Before Vorthak could explain, the ship's captain arrived at their door with several important-looking officials. "Lord Vorthak," the captain said with a deep bow, "your father, Emperor Flameheart, is waiting for you." "The entire Dragon Council has come to welcome you home." Kim stared at his friend in shock. "Lord Vorthak? Emperor Flameheart? You are a prince?" "Third in line to the dragon throne," Vorthak admitted. "I was traveling in secret because I wanted to see how ordinary people lived. I was tired of palace life and royal duties." Kim felt confused and a little betrayed. "Why did you not tell me?" "Because you treated me like a person, not like royalty. That was precious to me. If you had known who I was, would you have acted the same way?" Kim thought about it and realized Vorthak was right. Kim had helped him because he was an injured veteran, not because he was a prince. The title would not have mattered to Kim anyway. "You are still the same dragon who saved this ship," Kim said. "Your title does not change that." When Kim and Vorthak left the ship together, the crowd of dragons bowed deeply. The Golden Emperor approached them with tears in his huge eyes. "My son," Emperor Flameheart said, "when we heard about the ship's emergency and learned what you did, I was proud beyond words. And this human who saved your life, he will be honored by our people forever." The Emperor turned to Kim and spoke in a voice that carried across the entire landing area. "Kim J1 of Earth Colony Station, you have shown courage and honor that puts many dragons to shame. I name you Flame Friend, the first human ever to receive this title. You are forever welcome in Dragon Society as one of our own." Kim felt overwhelmed. Thousands of dragons around him roared their approval. The engineering conference he had planned to attend seemed very small compared to this moment. In the days that followed, Kim's life changed completely. The Dragon Council invited him to speak about human engineering methods. His simple act of giving up his seat had led to the first official alliance between humans and dragons for technological cooperation. But the most unbelievable thing happened a week later. Emperor Flameheart offered Kim a position as Chief Royal Engineer, with a palace, servants, and more money than Kim could spend in a lifetime. Kim thought about the offer carefully. Then he made a decision that surprised everyone. "Thank you, Your Majesty, but I have a different idea. What if Vorthak and I started a mobile repair service? We could travel around the galaxy helping ships in trouble. Dragons and humans working together." Vorthak's eyes lit up with excitement. "A repair service for stranded ships? Kim, that is brilliant." "You would give up a royal position for this?" Emperor Flameheart asked. "I would rather fix things than sit in a palace," Kim replied. "And Vorthak knows space better than anyone. Together we could help a lot of people." The Emperor smiled, showing teeth like silver swords. "You truly are an unusual human, Kim J1. Very well. The Dragon Treasury will fund your mobile repair service. Consider it an investment in galactic cooperation." 6 months later, Kim and Vorthak flew their ship, the Honor's Forge, through space looking for vessels in distress. They had already saved dozens of ships and hundreds of lives. Their partnership had become famous throughout the galaxy. Kim had learned that sometimes the most important journeys begin with simple kindness. He had given up a comfortable seat and gained a friend, an adventure, and a purpose that made his life meaningful. And Vorthak had learned that honor was not something you lost when you were injured or old. Honor was something you carried inside yourself, waiting for the right moment to shine again. Together, the human mechanic and the dragon prince proved that friendship could bridge any gap, even between species from different worlds. Their story became a legend that parents told their children, how one small act of kindness changed the galaxy forever. The Star Harmony continued its regular passenger runs, and the crew always remembered to treat every passenger with respect. They had learned that heroes could come from anywhere, even from economy class.